Michael, it's always great to see you, buddy.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah, so this is take two on this interview.
Yeah. We could probably splice some SCI audio in with it just for fun,
Uh,
but
yeah, we could, but it'd just be like people would be like shocked. It would be like
yes.
based off of the audio quality from there to here. But yeah, so I think I've had in like almost 2 decades of doing this about a handful, less than five times where I've had a technical difficulty, whether it's the equipment or my dumb ass. And you've been in two of those
Yeah.
situations. I swear I'm a professional. I
Special
swear.
case.
Yeah.
You're more of a professional than I am. I had a podcast that I completely missed a couple weeks ago with a friend, and because I was traveling when I saved the date, it saved it in the wrong time zone, and I was like, I totally
Uh,
messed it up. So
yeah.
anyway, yeah, it goes both ways.
Well,
Of
thanks for making time for me again. And
course.
yeah. So, how's the weather in lovely Toronto today?
You know what? We finally are getting some warm weather. The snow melted like a couple weeks ago. Although on Sunday it was like beautiful, and then it like just started dumping snow out of nowhere.
Oh
Only for
wow.
about 10 minutes. Yeah. So
Huh.
it stopped, but yeah, it was a bit of a shock walking the dog. But yeah, no, spring is slowly arriving.
Did you wake up to the Muslim call of prayer?
Not
That's
we
next
don't
year.
hear it. Yeah, no, it's not where I am. We don't hear it. Um,
I mean, I
but
was in the
yeah,
Toronto airport flying into Newfoundland for a moose hunt, and I was like, oh my
right.
gosh, this is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Where are all the
yeah.
Canadian
Well,
people?
Toronto is such a multicultural place, but there's sort of just pockets. Yeah, where I am, it's pretty like neighborhood, small families type thing, and then there's like boroughs like Brampton has a large sort of Sikh and Indian population, and Markham is like has like a huge Asian population. Great for restaurants and shopping and stuff. They've got some cool shopping malls and
Yeah,
stuff like that. And then like my restaurant's located in Little Portugal, which is kind of cool. The butcher shop and the fish kind of monger across the street. You can walk in and everyone's speaking Portuguese. It's pretty cool.
huh, right on.
But yeah, man.
Well, so I mean, we're kind of having the same thing in the States as far as immigration issues, obviously. And I don't care if you want to come here.
Mhm.
I especially don't like the Hispanic folks that are crossing the southern border. I would
Yeah,
do the same thing. I would do the same
yeah,
thing to make a better life for my
yeah,
family. But
mhm,
if you don't want to assimilate and you want to
yeah,
turn what we have, which is
mhm,
amazing in the US and Canada, then don't come. Because if you don't want to
yeah,
assimilate, then you are not the immigrant that helped make these countries great. You're the
mhm,
opposite of that. You're trying to turn it into
yeah,
this crap hole third world mongrel cesspool that you left. And I'm not here
mhm,
for that. Like
yeah,
assimilate, learn to speak English, take pride in enjoying all the things that the best countries in the world have to offer you instead of just
yeah,
taking, you know?
yeah,
So that's where I'm at.
yeah. No, it's there's a lot of there's a ton of issues here as well, and it's one thing if people contribute back and work hard and
Mm.
fill out all the necessarily paperwork to make it legit. Um, but yeah, it's the rule breakers and people bending the system
Take
that's
advantage.
not
Like,
cool.
where's the
Yeah, totally.
free? Yeah.
Yeah,
Where are the freebies? That's what I'm here for,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Like my neighbor, for example, his family is Ukrainian. They immigrated
Mhm.
here when he was in his teens. He's got two boys now. I mean, he's
Yeah,
probably 50. He's got an
yeah,
American flag, and I don't. So, he's like,
yeah, yeah,
he's so proud
yeah.
to be an American.
He's bought in.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And they lived in
He's bought
Chicago
in.
for a while. Then they had kids,
Yeah,
and like, we can't raise our boys here. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Like I said, like the pockets in Toronto, there's a Ukrainian sort of pocket within the city, and my son plays hockey, and there's like a little skate sharpening hockey store beside this Ukrainian grocery store. We went in there yesterday, got cabbage rolls, pierogies, all kinds of cool food. So yeah, I like the food aspect for sure.
Oh, yeah. Your son's still beating kids up on the ice?
Yeah, he won't stop growing, but he's had a little, fair share of injuries himself. So yeah, I think he's trying to be a little bit more mindful.
Mm.
But, you can't just go plowing into people, as fast as you can and come away completely unscathed. So yeah, he's kind of just working on, for the summer, working on skills and technical stuff, and then
Hmm.
the contact games are kind of done for the summer. But yeah, so he's trying to break into AAA this summer. So a lot of rink time for me driving.
How did he cry when we beat you guys in the gold medal game?
No, there was no tears. It was you know what, man, you guys earned it for sure. You guys worked hard. It was definitely a bummer, losing. But yeah,
You
there's
guys
all
still
kinds
have
of reasons why.
maple syrup, I guess. You're the best at that, maybe.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
the best at
Well,
almost everything and hockey now.
I mean, you won what was since the first time since the 80s. Like, you
Yeah.
guys, you guys earned it. You get
Oh,
one every now and again.
yeah. I mean, that's like me saying, well, the Dallas Cowboys have won 5 Super Bowls, okay, but the last one they won was when I was a kid. So,
Yeah.
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 Well, that's cool. So your son, he's a defenseman.
He's a defenseman, yeah.
So how tall are you?
I'm 6'3", and I think Zach is about a half inch taller than me now. So
Okay, because I'm not. I mean,
yeah.
I'm like average size. I'm 5'10", but I'm
Yeah.
way too 10. And like when I'm standing next to you, I'm like, God, you're hulking over me, and your son's bigger
Yeah.
than you.
Yeah.
But does he
Yeah.
does he
I
think he
still have
can
some
take you
pounds on
yet,
him,
or
but
do you still?
no, I don't think yeah, I think he's still a little scared of me, which is good. He's beat a few of my friends in an arm wrestle though, which was pretty funny.
uh,
But we were having a backyard barbecue, and yeah, he's pretty strong. Like,
uh,
he can definitely run faster than me. I never played hockey. Like, I can skate, but like not like he can. Like,
mhm.
the kid, they're talented. Like, it's exciting hockey at this age for sure. They're
Yeah,
competitive. So yeah, I wouldn't want to be on the ice with them, that's for sure. But
yeah.
yeah, and
We,
on a bike, I can still probably out bike him, but running, he'll kick my ass because of my
uh,
my knees. But yeah, no, he's definitely way more athletic than me now.
well, so you've got a camo shirt on, and
Mhm.
you're packing up, about to head out for y'all's turkey opener.
Yeah, our turkey opener is tomorrow, so I'm going over to one of my best friends' places. He's an hour and a half outside the city. Um, and yeah, we're gonna do some turkey hunting, possibly some ice fishing, or not ice fishing, just fishing. That's usually where we go to ice fish, but
Mm.
the crappie are just like on fire right now, and he's just catching them off the dock at their
Oh,
house.
nice.
So yeah, we're gonna bring our fishing rod, and yeah, like the limit is like, I've never even come close to it, but it's 50, per person or something
Oh
crazy.
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, so but yeah, he sent me a picture the other day, and there's like 20 of them lined up on the dock, so it was pretty cool.
So
Hopefully the bite's still on.
yeah. Well, I mean, our spawn has come and gone. Y'all are probably a month after us.
Yeah.
But where does crappie stack up in your pantheon of freshwater fish as far as table fare?
Man, I like it. It's the big kind of jumbo fat ones are nice, but are nicer anyway. But yeah, I like to just fillet them in little seasoned flour and fry them up in a pan. That's what we do with the perch and um, walleye and stuff like that. So yeah, they're great, little panfish, but they can be small. So a lot of time the little guys will throw back, but the big
Mm.
slabs are pretty good eating.
I think walleye and crappie are my two favorite freshwater
Yeah.
fish.
Yeah. Walleye's definitely number one for me for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, crappie's close second.
Well, I mean, the only walleye that I've ever caught was I've caught them in the boundary waters. Sometimes I think we're in Ontario. Uh, is that Quebec? No, that's Ontario, right?
Okay.
It's not
What
Quebec.
which lake are you on? Are you talking about boundary waters like
Oh,
along the
which
Great
lake? We're
Lakes?
portaging, man. We're going to all the lakes, and it's
Oh, gotcha.
like,
Okay.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
canoe trip. I've done it
Gotcha. Oh, cool.
4 or 5 times with my dad and
Nice.
brothers and some
Oh,
of his
fun.
buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those trips are the best. We're sort of
yeah. I
due for
mean,
one.
you
We
talk
haven't been in a
about
while.
being removed. Like there's nothing out there,
Mhm.
and every
Yeah.
lake inward you go, you get further away from civilization.
Yeah.
One time though. So my dad's he's older. He's probably at the time in his 60s. And so you have to portage, and meaning you have to carry all your waterproof
Yeah.
bags full of your gear and everything.
Yeah.
Well, I would always
Canoes
carry
on
the
your back.
canoe, right? Because canoe was, more cumbersome, heavier. And one time, so some of my buddies had already gotten to the next lake, and I'm walking over there. I got the canoe on my basically over my head, and if you lift it up, you can see in front of you, right? So you've got it
Yeah.
at an angle. I'm walking out there and get to the what I thought was a bank. It's not a bank because next thing you know, I'm completely submerged in
Oh
mud
no.
with just
Oh
my
no.
head above it and the canoe's on
Oh
top of
man.
me. And my
Oh
buddies are all
no.
laughing, and I was like, yeah, guys, I need a little help
Yeah.
here."
Yeah. You're like in a bog of like
Yeah,
swamp
sunk down
quicksand.
into a
Yeah.
bog. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would
That's
have been a
funny.
bad deal if I didn't have people there with me for sure.
Oh yeah. No, that would suck.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I thought you were gonna say like you turned to the side and like smoked somebody, hit
No,
your dad into the lake or something.
no, no.
But
But yeah, we've done like the Quetico area. Um, and yeah, I've caught some walleye there. Just absolutely
nice.
phenomenal table fare.
Yeah.
Um, well, so anyway, you were down south recently
Yeah,
for
I actually just came from West Texas last week.
how was that?
It was awesome. Shot my first Rio. We had this goal of shooting an axis doe, and quickly learned that axis are nothing like white-tailed deer.
Mm,
You
yeah.
know, like, and they if they get a glimpse of you, they are gone like Mach 10, and they don't stop running until the next county. Like,
Hmm.
whereas a whitetail, they'll run for 50 yards, stop, and look back at you, and you have time to get a shot. But yeah, these axis, and even the ranch manager where we were said, it's pretty hard to shoot an axis doe. When they're in the rut, it's the bucks are a lot easier because you can roar at them and call them and whatnot. But yeah, it was challenging. We gave it a good couple tries in the afternoons, but turkey hunting was our main goal, which was incredible. There were Rios everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I had a
So
couple
where
good
were you
turkey hunts.
exactly?
We were El Dorado,
Okay.
yeah, just outside El Dorado. So yeah, I flew into Austin and drove, 3.5 hours west.
Yeah.
But
Right
yeah,
on.
beautiful country. Got my first run-in with the law speeding. But and yeah, the tickets are very different. Like here, it says right on it how much you owe, and it's very explanatory. Um, yeah, Texas was like, you need to appear before this, honorable,
Oh yeah. By the way, I'm going to be in
judge.
Canada.
Yeah. So anyway, so I phoned my friend who lives in Texas. He said, no, no, just get your wallet ready, your credit card ready. I was like, okay. But thankfully, Texas and Ontario don't share driver's data, so it's not going to affect my insurance back home, thankfully. So
Mm, that's nice.
yeah, but yeah, next time I'll be sure to slow down a little bit. But
Yeah. I
yeah,
got zapped in the coming back from Colorado, not this spring break, the one before. We took the
yeah,
kids skiing, and I got popped going like 20 over, but it was in a Indian
yeah.
reservation area, so they have
No,
their own police, right?
right.
And the ticket was like $50 and doesn't go on
Okay,
your
that's
insurance.
not
You just
bad.
pay it, and they
Yeah,
get their $50. I was like, this is the
yeah,
best. Like, I'm
yeah.
definitely gonna speed again next time I'm in here.
Yeah,
It
yeah. Just
was
pay a little
worth
extra.
it.
It's like a toll. It's like a toll road.
Yeah, if
I
you
I
get
did
caught,
that
it's a little
through
extra.
the Natch. I think it's called the Natchez Trace Highway, but it's through like federal
Mm.
parks, and I couldn't like. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention, and I was just like everyone was going so slow, and it was like wide open roads, and I was just like flying. And when I got to Mississippi and told my friends, like, oh, I took this new route this time. Like maps told me to go here, and but I was like, everyone's going slow, and I was just flying, and they're like, oh no, like don't do that. Like that's federal parks or something. And they're
Uh,
like, if you get caught, you have to pay like right then and there. Like you have to, and I
uh,
was like, you need cash, and it's like a big deal. It's a super huge fine. I was like, okay, well, I'm never ever going through there again.
huh.
But yeah, some of them were just wide open roads. I grew up in the country, and I don't know, just enjoying the scenery and not really paying attention.
Yeah. So you you guys have Easterns up in
Yeah,
Ontario. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've shot, dozens of those. Shot a Merriam a couple years ago in Colorado, which was cool.
Uh-huh.
um, and it was almost like too easy. And I've heard they're, not as smart as some of their different sort of species cousins, but
Yeah.
yeah, the Merriam was cool. We saw like 20 of them fly out of this roostery, and they all kind of gathered around and waited for the dominant tom to fly down like last, and then they all charged us like single file across a field to run in, and it was the coolest hunt, but it was just over, in like 15 minutes of
Uh,
sunrise it was done. Like it was just anyway, it was turkey hunting is incredible, but it was over too fast.
yeah.
The Rios were a little bit more challenging. Um, but yeah, the first night we couldn't get them to, or evening, afternoon hunt, we couldn't get them to break off from the hens, and then the next day they kind of threw us for a loop, as turkeys do. They didn't come from where they were supposed to come from, and then they hung up in a fence, and almost spooked, and ended up shooting through a fence to get them. But yeah, it worked, but it wasn't what we had been planning on. But
When turkeys get to a fence, sometimes they can be the
I know.
dumbest creature. It's like they will just
And
walk
sometimes
back
they
and
just fly
forth.
right over it.
Yeah.
I've seen them walk over a cedar rail fence, like perpendicular, sideways,
Hmm.
walking upside down. Like it was just bizarre.
Mm.
And then other times they get to a fence and they just don't know how to
They
fly,
just freak
or
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, okay. Well, so what is your favorite wild turkey recipe, and what's something new that you're either have tried out this year or plan on trying
Mhm.
out?
I laugh. Our deep fry culture here is not the same as the South. So I think I fried my first one in nuggets like last year.
Oh yeah.
Like I've killed so many turkeys. And so yeah, now I'm like, I'm going through the buttermilk fried kind of nuggets phase. But one of my favorite ways is just to brine it overnight. So like I do salt, sugar, maybe a little bit of vinegar, herbs and spices and stuff like that, and then I roll it up and tie it. So like there's the big end, there's a real thick end, and then it kind of tapers off really thin, and then there's
Mhm.
the tenderloin that kind of is hanging on there. So I just kind of roll it up so it's nice and tight. Tie it with butcher twine, and then I smoke it, 250, 225, something like
So this is
that,
just the breast
until
that you're just rolling up.
just a breast.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, but the trick is to take it off at 145 degrees internal, and then let it rest for 10 minutes. It is the most tender, juicy turkey breast in the world.
Huh.
It's awesome. Yeah. So that's sort of just simple, super simple.
Hmm.
But yeah, then you can barbecue sauce whatever you want, or put a dry rub on it. But
Yeah.
before you cook it. But that's, yeah, just I find like everyone thinks you have to cook it to 165 or 180 or whatever it is, and it just dries it right out. So 145, and you take it out, wrap it, whatever, it'll kind of keep steaming to about 150, 155.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's beautiful.
I smoked have smoked a couple over the years, and
Hmm.
with you know a little bit of trepidation, like, is this going to be dried out? And I
Yeah,
sliced that up, and like my wife and my in-laws, everybody was like, "Man, this is great." We're just making
yeah,
sandwiches out of it with a nice,
yeah,
dry rub. Oh, it was good.
yeah,
So
yeah.
turkeys get a bad rap. There, people are like, I
It,
don't want to
it,
eat
and I
that.
think it's cooking, right? Like you overcook it, of course it's gonna be dry. And same with a farm turkey. Like, I don't know, when I was a kid, people would sort of brag, like, I put the turkey in at 7 o'clock this morning, and it's, we're having dinner at 7 o'clock at night. And it was like, oh God,
Ooh,
this thing's gonna be
it's gonna be Christmas
it's gonna be
vacation
dry.
dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's where a lot of people kind of go wrong with, and like the wild birds, they don't have the same fat content, like
Mm.
a farm raised turkey. It's like, I don't know, 5, 6 months of age or something like that. Whereas a wild turkey is like 2, 3 years old. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's a lot of difference in flavor, but also the tenderness.
Are you keeping the legs?
I do, yeah. So I just cut them off, and I used to keep the skin. I'm not keeping the skin as much anymore. But I just find it tough. It's not, you can't really crisp it up the same as farm turkeys.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, pressure cooker is the way to go. Dry rub, pressure cooker, a little bit of stock, broth, whatever, and then splash of barbecue sauce. and then let it rip in the pressure cooker for an hour and a half, 2 hours the most, and it just shreds into perfect pulled turkey sliders, whatever you
Mm.
want to do with it. But yeah, one of my
That
favorites for
sounds
sure.
good.
Really good.
I saved. I've killed 3 turkeys this spring, and I have 3 turkey legs. One of
Nice.
them, I got lazy and was like, it was pouring down rain, and I was like, I've already got a
Yeah.
few. I didn't.
Yeah.
But at least 90% of turkey hunters don't save any of the legs. So then
No. Yeah.
I saved the first one I shot, and then I went to save the other one, and one of the legs was good, but the other one had a bunch of green infection where he'd been
Oh
spurred.
yeah.
And that happened.
Yeah.
I've seen that a lot when I go
Yeah.
take the legs out. They're fighting this
Yeah.
time of year. If they get
Yeah.
spurred, yeah, there's a little like
Yeah.
gangrene going on in there. I'm like,
Yeah.
nope,
I'm not
probably
eating
shouldn't
that.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually what I think we've talked about this before, but like one of the reasons why I wrote my first cookbook was because, the guy that introduced me to hunting and hunting turkeys was the first thing I did. I was in chef school at the time. He said, "Oh, ditch the legs. You can't eat those." And I said, "What do you mean you can't eat
Hmm.
those?" Like he was like, and he's not a chef by any means. And I understand, after checking them after a couple hours of braising and stewing, they're still like hard as nails. So I get that, if you don't know what you're doing or how to cook at all, the legs are pretty inedible. Like there's so many of those thick tendons and like
Hmm.
pin bones and that are going through the drumsticks. Like they're awful. So um, yeah, that was sort of what inspired me to kind of learn more about game, was to help my friends, get more out of it.
Hmm. So where did you actually go to school? Culinary school.
There's a few colleges, within the city, and I went to one. They had an apprenticeship program, which was cool. So I got to work full time, and then I went to school on my 2 days off. Um,
Hmm.
and that was like a 2-year program, but I'd been working in restaurants all through high school and whatnot. So, yeah, I had a pretty good foundation already, and school is just like, a way to get that piece of paper. And you learn some cool stuff in school, and definitely all the safety stuff, holding temperatures, cooking temperatures, chemical stuff. At the end of the day, if you don't know what you're doing, you can make someone really sick, and nobody wants that. So at the end of the day, if you're really um, negligent, you're liable, if you make someone really sick. So
Hmm.
the schooling stuff is important for sure, but yeah, the actual like cooking knowledge and like whatever, I think really comes from in the field experience at restaurants.
Yeah. So, I mean, the service industry is full of degenerates, and
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
was one of them. The first job I had was and I think I told you this. There's a Canadian chain called Earl's,
yes, yeah,
and
yeah.
they had one
That's so
in
funny.
Dallas that I think it's called the Forno oven. It's basically a wood burning oven,
Yeah.
and so I would any meat, ribs, chicken. We had pizzas. We did all that stuff. I had my spatula and my stupid hat, and I was doing that whole deal. And then that was like right after I graduated high school. And then all throughout my very illustrious college career, I was
Mm,
bartending or waiting tables.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I know you mentioned like degenerates. I don't know why it's a very backwards industry, backwards hours, backward days off, like, and because it's, you're serving alcohol, it just attracts a certain crowd. And like you mentioned, I was one myself. So but yeah, a lot of alcoholism and drug addiction in the industry for sure. We're lucky, like our restaurant's it's really small, and everyone's a bit older, more mature, that we don't have a lot of issues. But every once in a while there's someone that joins the team that doesn't work out because of
Mm-hmm.
substance abuse stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
we just don't have the patience for it. It's
Yeah.
if you want to get help, great, go get help, and we'll support you in that. But if we don't allow it at the workplace. So
Right.
yeah.
So your culinary school, I imagine, is a pretty like liberal. I'm envisioning a pretty liberal environment.
Um, I
Although
don't not
although you're
like at
working
least
with a
not
lot of
when I
meat,
went.
so that takes out a lot
Yeah,
of those
it wasn't.
weirdos.
Yeah, like we didn't. I went. It was so long ago now. It was 20 some odd years ago. I went to college.
But I guess where I was going to go is like, are you like the poster boy for the black sheep that's out there killing all
Yeah.
these animals and like,
No, I think because most chefs are working with meat, right?
yeah,
Like it's not. I think I don't hear as much about. vegan food as I used to, a
Oh,
couple years
that's
ago
good.
with the Beyond Meats and all those things. Like, I think they're bankrupt now. Like they just,
Oh, couldn't
I don't
happen
think it
to a
was
nicer
any,
group.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. So they're definitely like, I think that trend is, done or
Yeah.
dying for
Well, and
sure.
I guess you're really looking at it. If you're in culinary school, you're like we said, you're working with meat all the time, so
Yeah.
you're kind
Like
of
you're learning
buffered
how
by
to,
that.
there's like a whole butchery class, which is kind
Mm.
of cool. You learn how to break down birds and, four-legged animals and, fish and all that kind of stuff. So,
What is your favorite um, winged quarry to work with?
um, squab's really kind of fun. I find them really tasty, like, pigeon, quail. I love all the upland stuff. I joined last year a little upland club with just to work my dog. So we put him on like pheasants and chuckers.
Mm.
And they're great. They're so tasty. It's, very chicken-like, but more flavorful, So I just did little kind of pheasant parm sandwiches yesterday for lunch, which was kind of fun.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
more flavorful, less antibiotics. It's a
Yeah,
win-win.
yeah, for sure. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I shot a. Have you been to Argentina? I don't know if I've ever asked you that.
No, I haven't. I want
Okay.
to, but
So I went
yeah,
there not for bird hunting. I went there for red stag, but the last day we were all
yeah.
tagged out. So we did a little. Um, they call them.
Dove or duck?
No, no, no.
Parakeet? Something
P-
crazy?
Perdiz. Perdiz is like
Okay.
a. It's a little bit bigger than a bobwhite quail.
Oh,
We didn't have
cool.
a dog or anything. We just lined up, and just kicked
Yeah,
them up. I mean, these are
yeah,
wild birds, but it's just walk them up and shoot them.
yeah,
And so we took a break and we went to a little water hole. And this is not an area of Argentina that's known for like high volume dove shooting, but they had a
yeah,
bunch of parakeets. And I was like, oh, I'm going to
yeah,
shoot one of those. Shot one
yeah,
of those things and I saw it land. And I was like, dang, I wish I had a dog, like the grass is
yeah.
green, the parakeet's green. And then I got close to him and he started squawking at me. And I was like, oh, there you are, you little bastard. And so I grabbed him, wrung his neck, took him back to the lodge and was like, I
Yeah.
told the chef, I was like, will you cook this for me? And he's like, no. And I was like, what? I think he thought, they told me later that he thought I was joking. So then I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
fine. So I
yeah,
put
yeah,
the whole bird in the wine cooler where I've got
yeah.
all their wine and there's my parakeet. And then after dinner, we had like a couple cigars around the campfire, and I went and got the parakeet and went back in the kitchen and told the chef I was like, I need olive oil and salt and pepper. You're gonna give it to me. And he was like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, sure. And then he gave it to me, and I just
yeah,
took it out. And we cooked it on the open fire. Dude, it
yeah.
was just like a dove. It was the same color as
Nice.
a dove.
Yeah,
Tasted like a
cool.
dove. Yeah, it was really good.
Neat. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, dove's great, and I like the dove hunting culture is sort of starting to make its way here,
Mm.
because like when I grew up hunting, like I didn't see nobody shot doves, and you'd see it in the regulations, like this is the season or whatever, but nobody got excited about it, whatever. And we work with a farmer that processes his own seed oils,
Mm.
but he does like a cold press version, and it's just straight, like he's not doing chemical extractions or whatever, like some of these huge companies are. Um, and he farms hemp seed, sunflower seed, and these kind of special pumpkins for these giant pumpkin seeds to make pumpkin seed oil.
Mm.
And he's got this weird, cool cold press machine that, anyway, long story short, when he cuts down the sunflower and the hemp fields, the doves like absolutely smash. And he invited, he said, hey, my friend wants to take you guys, we are a bunch of chefs, that buy from him. He knew we all hunt, and we're all friends. And he said, oh, my friend's gonna come set up a dove hunt for you guys. And I thought, okay, like, cool, I'll go shoot, whatever.
Yeah.
And I had never seen like a dove tree and the dove mojos and all the dove decoys, and I was just like, this is wild, man. And
Oh.
they poured in.
Our limit's
Yeah, and
15. How many can you shoot there?
yeah. uh I I'd have to look. It's either 10 or 12, something like that.
Okay.
It's not, I
Well, that's
don't think
great
it's
to hear
15, but I could
because
be wrong.
I
Yeah.
think I don't think I know. Dove hunting is such an easy introduction into
Mhm.
hunting. It's like
Yeah.
the gateway drug. And so
Yeah.
to hear that, it's expanding into
Yeah.
parts previously unknown. It's
Yeah.
very cool. I love
Yeah.
it. I mean, like
And
it's such a
just,
social sport.
yeah. And now I've done it in the States, and I can see like people are, growing sunflowers specifically for dove hunting. And then
Mm.
all the kids come out and everyone's sitting on their coolers. And, it's more of a social outing than really, a hunt in some cases. And, yeah, like you just said, it's the introduction for hunting for so many people. It was really fun to see them do it in Mississippi.
Hmm. Well, that's cool. But there's places like Michigan. Michigan has millions of dove. Can't hunt them.
Okay.
They don't
Really?
have a dove season. It's not even. It's not their state bird. No, they just don't have a dove
Yeah.
season. They've been trying to get it
Yeah.
passed, and Ted Nugent's always bitching about it because that's where he's from. But
Oh, funny.
yeah, they don't have one. But
Yeah.
we shoot more dove in Texas annually than the rest of the country combined.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a big thing here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Hmm.
Wow. But I wonder, like, I know, I guess if they follow the flyways, how many, like, from the
That's a
rest
little
of
bit of
rest of
it.
the country, that come
Most of them
down.
are native. Most of them are here when on September 1st when the season starts. Now we do get
Okay.
migration, but by
Yeah.
then most guys have started deer hunting or duck hunting and have lost interest in dove hunting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we do have a late season like around Christmas. I think you
Okay.
get like 2 full months and then it stops.
Yeah.
Then you get another little 10 days something like that season.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of people taking advantage of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my kids don't go to school September 1st. It's that. I mean, like, it's that
Oh,
important.
nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And their kids. I mean,
Very
their
cool.
teachers are like, what's up?" And I'm like, "It's dove opener,
Nothing.
man. Like, how
Yeah.
do you not
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you teaching my kids?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny.
Now I'm worried about you. Mhm.
Yeah. No,
What?
I love
Actually,
that. I
why are you
hear,
not
I
going
hear,
with us?
I hear they don't do it here, but like I've heard up north in some, or like, more rural communities, that like trout opener, the schools just close for the week because like
Mhm.
nobody shows up. So they just like take an extra holiday.
Uh,
But yeah, no, I love that. I think,
yeah.
those that stuff's important. So
Well, so you're a professional chef that specializes in wild game,
mhm.
but not everything turns into an instant home run. There's some
Yeah.
swings and misses along the way.
Oh yeah. I've had
Yeah.
some big ones for sure.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, and I think I told you this in our failed recording, but
Yeah.
so I think other than pushing the envelope on like what's edible, like something that
Mhm.
should have been good, like the first
Yeah.
time I cooked when I got into duck hunting and had
Yeah.
friends over, I was probably like 20, and I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
y'all come watch the Cowboys game. I've got all these ducks, and I don't know what really to do with them." So I
Yeah.
breast them out, and then I cook them on a grill, and then I made blackberry glaze, and
Okay.
it was like serving an old shoe with some glaze on it because
Oh yeah.
way overcooked them to the point where like people are like, "Is this like
Uh-oh.
is this
Yeah,
what
is
we're
this a
really
joke?
eating?"
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a tough sales pitch. The next time I was like, "Yeah, oh yeah, come over and
Right.
what are you making? Duck?" And they're like, "Oh, been down this road." I was like, "No, I know how to do it now."
Yeah, I figured it
Uh huh.
out.
Rubber shoe duck.
Um, my story with that is, I think the first time I shot a Canada goose, I came home and I was so excited. I spent an hour plucking this thing. Um, I'd previously plucked a turkey, so I thought, it wasn't going to be that, it wasn't. I didn't find the turkey that bad to pluck, but turkeys don't have down like geese
Yeah.
do. So like that thing took forever to pluck. And I think I made a stuffing and like Thanksgiving and stuffed it and threw this goose in the oven. This bird must have been 25 years old because it was absolutely terrible. And I probably overcooked it. It was just
Mhm.
a nightmare. It was inedible. Like we had to like, make pasta or something quick to like fix dinner because my failed, like it was like cutting into a lacrosse ball. Like it was just hard rubber. And I was like, well, this is terrible. Like I don't think a dog would eat it. It was so tough. But
Uh,
anyway, yeah, that was sort of one of my major fails, working with game for the first time. So
yeah. Well, and then anytime, and this still does happen, not very often, but I don't use a thermometer of any kind when I'm cooking red meat. I
mm,
just push on it. I'm like, that's medium
yeah,
rare. Well,
yeah,
sometimes, once in a while, I miss. And then whether it's
For sure.
venison or steak, I mean,
Hmm.
I'm not going to pretend like we don't like steak in this house. We absolutely do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'll serve it to my kids, and they cut into it, and
Hmm.
it's like this isn't red. This is
Yeah. Yeah.
like pink. Like what is
What's going on,
why is
Dad?
this
Yeah.
burned, Dad? Why do you
Yeah.
suck? Like
Yeah. You know what happens even when you're using a thermometer, if you're not setting timers and stuff, you forget, or sometimes a lot of like sometimes I'll undercook it as opposed to overcook it. And then the same thing is still kind of tough. It can be chewy if it's like too rare.
Mm.
So yeah,
But
it's
that can be fixed. There's no going back the other way.
yes. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
it's just eat it, kid.
yeah.
You know?
Well, but I also take
Um,
pride in the fact that my kids want it bloody. Like
yeah. No, it's great. So it should be eaten,
mhm.
more flavors. I don't know if it's healthier for you, the less cooked it is, but more
Yeah,
nutrients are still sort of alive, maybe. I don't know. It'd be fun to go back to school for like food science because there's a lot of questions and theories that I have, and it'd be fun to really kind of get
yeah.
the real, or like I don't know if you've ever eaten a deer heart when it's like still warm out of the animal, but I got like a body buzz. And same with everyone that was with me. We like cooked this deer heart while it was still warm, and we all felt like we had just chugged a pot of coffee. Like it was just like an
Huh.
instant body buzz. Like it was just, is this like Red Bull?
Mm.
Like what is this? And it was just, is it because it's nutrient dense and it's still like, or is it just like maybe it was just a placebo effect or something? I don't know, but
That's interesting.
there was like four of us that were like, wow, like I feel like I've just drank a Red Bull. Like I'm full of
Huh.
energy. I'm ready to go. Anyway,
Mm.
it was interesting, but I would like to kind of take some food science courses and learn more about the science behind food and nutrition a bit. I think it'd be neat.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I've never really thought about that. I just know when it's
Um,
burned, and when I cut
yeah,
into it and blood's not running out of it, I'm just like, oh no.
yeah. I actually spent. I was in an elevator, and it was actually during SCI, and there was a lady in there, and I forget, she had a pin on or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, are you with Ducks Unlimited?" She said, "Yeah, she's a wildlife biologist, and they study ducks." And I thought, "Oh, that's cool." And I said, "Hey, what about like?" 'Cause there's like sort of guides online within our ministry for fishing regulations, and it talks about like you know you shouldn't really cook these salmon that are caught in Lake Ontario because they're sort of landlocked, and these larger fish store the mercury in the belly fat, so it's like trim the belly fat and don't feed it to pregnant women and children, and don't eat more than twice a
Mm.
month or something. And I was like it kind of takes the enjoyment out of it, and sort of freaks you out. But I said, is it similar for ducks or birds or whatever? She said, absolutely, 100%. And not all ducks, but you don't know where those ducks have been, what waters they've been in. Were they
Mhm.
swimming in a river that's polluted from an abandoned mine? Like, they could be filled with whatever, and toxins are stored in animals' fat. So I used to be very diligent about plucking. You got to pluck all your birds and whatever. And now I'm a little bit more selective, and I don't eat as much fat and duck skin as I used to because of this conversation I had
Oh
with this
wow.
lady. But if it's a really big, beautiful mallard and it's not all shut up, I'll definitely pluck a few.
Mm. I mean, there's nothing
But
better than a puddle duck with the skin on, seared in a cast
yeah,
iron. For me, I mean,
yeah, yeah. No,
that's where they shine.
I I couldn't believe it. A friend of mine whose name I won't announce and throw under the bus on your podcast is they did like a poll, like what's your favorite duck? And he lives on the West Coast, near an ocean, and was saying like mallard's one of his least favorite birds. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Like, and I think
Yeah.
he said teal was his favorite, but he said like, and I'm like, and I have had the odd mallard that kind of had a fishy twang to it or something. And it's like, okay, was this bird from a coast? Like, did this
Mm.
bird just eat a bunch of fish or something? Like, but yeah, like mallards, like a late season mallard that's like, it's got like, half an inch of fat on it is like heaven to me,
Beautiful. Yeah.
So yeah, I was kind of, and then all these people were chiming in that, teal are their favorite or wood duck or whatever. And like mallards were like, almost bottom on the list. So it was like, I don't
Ah,
know
that's
what
crazy.
flyway,
Yeah.
is it just a coastal flyway and they're eating fish and they're in saltwater? Like, what's the
I don't even
difference here?
think
But
mallards eat that much fish. Like maybe some
yeah,
invertebrates and stuff, but typically they're.
yeah,
I mean, they're
I don't
they're
know.
a puddle duck.
Yeah, yeah. So
They're
that's why
eating
I
more
don't know.
plant stuff.
I was very surprised to see the comments on
Huh.
that post, but yeah.
So when you,
Anyway.
or I'll just say what I do. I get lazy and I don't. I mean, I'll pluck them, But then
Mhm.
I'm just taking the knife and just cutting the skin with the breast, right? I mean,
Yeah.
is that what you're doing
Yeah.
too?
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
pluck the breast cavity or whatever. And then, um, sometimes I like to have broth and stock in the house. We freeze it. And then when we're making beans or rice or like, I'll braise, deer shanks or whatever, I use that stock. So once in a while, I'll skin the whole bird and then use the body. I'll cut the legs off or whatever. And then I'll use the bodies to make broth, which is awesome. So I do that
Mm.
once, but not all the time. And then like, when we get a 10 bird limit of geese for our nuisance hunt. So, we go 10 guys, shoot 100 geese. I might keep the legs off 10 of them. And then it's like, we're cleaning. And it's like, no, like it just,
Yeah.
there's too many. Like, it's just too much sometimes, or, if
Oh,
you go snow goose hunting and you shoot hundreds of these things, like
yeah.
um, and there's really, on a goose, there's a little bit more meat on the legs, but like, a wood duck or even some mallards, like there's not really a ton of meat on the legs. So,
Hmm.
but,
Yeah. Well, it's the same. Like, I hate to see sandhill crane legs wasted, but you go on a hunt and it's a 7-man limit. That's 21 birds. I'm like, I guess I'm
yeah,
just going to take the legs off my three because I don't
yeah,
want to be
yeah,
out there
yeah.
taking all
No,
of the
yeah,
legs.
taking
But I
all
feel
your
bad
legs off,
watching you
and then
guys
they won't
waste
even
it.
eat them. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's
Um,
like a turkey. Like there's a lot of meat on a turkey leg, so it's like, okay, I'm not wasting these, but
mhm.
some of these little tiny ducks, it's like it's like a canapé, like a one bite.
Speaking of that,
Thing.
have you
So
had duck tongues?
I have,
Yeah.
yeah, they're kind of cartilagey, like they're kind of the texture is a bit. It's not like a beef tongue. Beef tongue is like
No.
super soft when it's cooked, but yeah, definitely.
Did you make them yourself or did someone serve them to you?
No, well, we used to get them at a restaurant I worked at, and yeah, I
Oh,
wasn't crazy about them. The same with like the gizzard. I'm not crazy about the gizzard.
I'm not a big gizzard guy either. But the tongues,
No, like
we shot,
yeah.
we did like we did this hunt that I always go on every year and we just push the envelope. Like we shot
Mm. Or eat something weird.
every time, dude.
Yeah,
And so one time we ate bobcat. One time we shot a
yeah.
sow and she had a bunch of fetuses in her and we tried to eat the
Okay.
fetuses. Dude,
Yeah,
I mean, I thought this, it's a delicacy in some South American
yeah,
countries, and I'm like,
yeah.
this is going to be great.
Give it
And
a
it
go, man.
did
Yeah,
not matter how
yeah.
long you put it in the skillet on high, you could not crisp it up. It was just gelatinous.
Right. Yeah,
I don't know. We couldn't get it hard enough to be like, it was just gross.
yeah.
But then we
I've
did
heard that.
duck tongues. Yeah. We couldn't get, I
Yeah.
mean, I was like, surely if we just keep cooking it, it'll crisp up. No, it never was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
No,
we did the
I know
duck
someone
tongue.
that's not. I know someone that hasn't been invited back to a camp because he forced a bunch of people to try to eat those.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, we do weird things every year just to see,
Yeah.
and so this last year we did whitetail bone marrow. Oh, it was good.
Okay.
I mean, that's
Cool.
not really weird,
Nice.
right? But most people aren't
Yeah.
saving the
No.
shanks or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but so we did these duck tongues and we sauteed them in garlic and butter
Yeah.
and
Cool.
oh, dude, they weren't super tough, and they have a
Yeah.
little bone in them, and you just slide it off, and
Yeah.
I mean it's a tiny little bite of meat, but yeah, the flavor
Yeah.
was really good.
Very
Um,
different for sure.
mhm. So not all geese are created equal. What
Yeah.
you just said you've shot snow geese, you've shot Canadas.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if you've shot any of the like Brant or anything like that, but
Yeah.
obviously speckle bellies.
Specs are great. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like Canada's. A lot of people don't. They think they're trash or they just make sausage out of them, and that's fine. I like them. So I've started to sous vide the breasts at about 128, 130 for like 4 to 5 hours, and then grill them or pan fry them or whatever. And I find that really breaks them down because, like I mentioned earlier, that geese can live to their Canadas can live to they're like 25, 30
hmm
years old, and something like they can be ancient, these things, right? So um, and unless you shoot like a juvenile and you can tell by the plumage or whatever in the early season, um, they're going to be tough. And, snow geese are kind of, easier to tell when they're in that, like that gray phase when they're young.
sky carp.
Like those, yeah. Well, man, some of those are some of the most tender bird, those young ones.
Mm.
Yeah. And like people, yeah, that's one thing. People don't like eating snow geese, and, I don't mind it, so.
Mhm.
Um, Actually, in my second book, I roasted one in a pizza oven and I actually got the skin crispy, and it was freaking delicious.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to master getting the skin crispy on like wild, ducks and geese and stuff for a long time. Because the fat is just totally different than farm birds. Like there's no really nothing unless it's like late season mallard, very specific. Then you can render some stuff, or like late season divers can be really fatty. But again, I find those fishy. But I found the trick is to put it in a pizza oven at like 750 degrees, and that skin gets crispy, and the inside's still kind of medium rare,
Mm.
and it was phenomenal. So, but I like hand picked a young snow goose for that
Uh-huh.
recipe. But
Very
yeah,
cool.
it was good.
Yeah, one of the guys that goes on that trip, that annual trip we do, where we just try the weirdest wild game we can think of.
Yeah.
He's brought a pizza oven the last 2 years.
Oh, cool.
So
Nice.
yeah, so I'm gonna have to.
Give it a go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even with ducks or whatever, like, because, you don't want it to be well done, but you want the skin crispy, and it's sort of a hard, catch 22. But yeah, super high heat,
mm.
and it worked. So, but I've been trying to figure that out for years.
Was you said, and it's not like some big secret that divers are less desirable table fare
Yeah.
than puddle ducks, but it wasn't always that way with
Mhm.
especially on the East Coast, where they market hunted canvasbacks and redheads almost into oblivion. And then
Yeah.
you can look at the menu from the Waldorf Astoria from the early teens, and it'll say beef filet mignon,
Hmm.
$2, canvasback duck, $3. It was like
Right.
more expensive for a
Yeah.
canvasback. So people used to have a palate for it, and so
Yeah.
I did cook. There's a Ducks Unlimited recipe book. I think it's called The Hunter's Table or something like that. And
Hmm.
they had a candied yam and canvasback recipe in there, and I made that one
Cool.
time. Oh man,
Yeah.
that was phenomenal. Yeah,
Very cool.
it's all in preparation. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that they're equal to puddle ducks, but yeah,
Hmm.
you can make them good.
Yeah. Canvasbacks are kind of sought after here. We don't get them directly where I live. I got to drive probably 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours, sort of southwest, to sort of get on them. But yeah, they're great eating. But I
Yeah,
find them different than a bluebill scop.
yeah.
I find, and I think it's just time of year, whatever. Sometimes those things are so incredibly fishy, like it's just. But I also think
Well, let
too.
me introduce you to the merganser. You
Oh man, they're terrible. They're like they're so bad. But I think it's also in the fat. I think because I have cooked them whole because they're so fatty and they look amazing. And then it's like, ooh, that's fishy. And you can just smell it in the oven. You're like, oh
Oh
God.
yeah.
But taking the skin off, totally different flavor, I think. So I think that fishiness is in the fat. I don't know if did I tell you my cormorant story?
Oh, I
Ever
want to
tell you
hear
this
it.
one?
Yeah.
So they legalized shooting cormorants in Ontario, I think 3 or 4 years ago, because they've just really started decimating shorelines and
They're
like
starting to
killing
put a lot of
vast
pressure.
amounts of trees.
Yeah. Well, and they're putting pressure. I saw a big movement. I forget which state it was in, but North Carolina, I think, has
Mhm.
experimented with seasons in
Yeah.
the past, but it's not a big mainstream thing. But I think it's
Yeah.
going to get there
Oh
because
man, it's
people are
it's
tired of them.
mainstream here. People are
Yeah.
making Facebook groups, the Cormorant Hunters of South Ontario. It is
There's a
hilarious.
dude that sells hunts. I even reached out to him one
Yeah.
time. I was like, "This would be a cool thing to do." Like,
Oh
and then
yeah.
he was like,
It's
"Oh man,
fun,
I'm
man.
booked out like 2 years in advance." I was like, "What?"
Yeah. People hate them. Fishermen absolutely hate like hardcore bass fishermen and stuff. They want to wipe them
Mm,
off the face of the earth. But
yeah,
so the first year they introduced it, I actually know the one of the ministers in the provincial parliament that introduced the bill. He originally was anyway. They're doing damage. They're doing damage. They're doing damage to the fisheries. They're doing damage to shorelines. They've like completely wiped out this park in Toronto that was on like a peninsula,
mm,
and the birds killed every single tree that's in that park. And for people listening that don't know this, they're species are like super acidic and they nest in trees. So when they
yeah.
shit on the trees, they die. The trees die. So they've just decimated this huge park. It was like this massive cormorant home. Anyway, long story short, they introduced this bill to bring in cormorant hunting, but he purposely put it at 50 birds per day or something very high because he
Yeah.
knew whatever number he put to it, people were going to freak out. You can't shoot cormorants, blah, blah, blah. So then they put it down to 15 birds. Okay, we'll make you happy. 15 birds per day. And so
Smart.
that ended up, yeah, super smart. Um, so now they're just part of our waterfowl season. And but the first couple of years, we used to have they've stopped it now and they just let kids hunt with us. But they used to have like a heritage youth kind of day, like one day where you could take a kid that didn't necessarily have a license or whatever. They had to have their outdoors card, but they didn't have to have their formal license or whatever. Anyway, um, it was like a youth hunt, but it would happen on like one day. But it lined up like they let you shoot cormorants from September 1st. And then it lined up with this like youth hunt. So my friend and I went out and shot cormorants, but the kids were shooting ducks. We shot a pile of them. I kept one because I wanted to breast it out and just kind of see. Anyway,
Oh,
I kept the meat. I kept the meat for next year because every year my friends do this big duck opener party and everybody brings, it's kind of like potluck or whatever. And I knew I was gonna do something with it, and I wasn't sure what I was gonna do, but I was like, I'm gonna make a joke out of this, and because a bunch of my buddies are really into fishing, and they absolutely despise these birds,
mhm.
and so I had just gone on a crane hunt, and I told my buddies it was crane the following year, and cooked up these breasts, and one of my friends was like skeptical. He's like, "Those look kind of small to me," and I was like, "Oh no, I cut them in half," and and he ate it and he was like, this isn't as good as I was expecting. And I was like, oh no, just like give it a minute. And my other friend was like, this was delicious. Oh, I knew it was going to be good. Like he was going on and on. He was first, he's never tried St. Hill crane.
Uh,
And then I pulled up
and
a
he still hasn't.
picture. He still hasn't. No. And I pulled up a picture of this thing breasted out on the tailgate of my trunk with like its yellow beak that's all full of, teeth and whatever. And oh man, it was so funny. They were so mad. It was great.
Did you try a bite of it?
You know what? It wasn't that bad. Like Merganser's worse. Like, when
I
I was
don't,
first
for
starting,
real?
yeah, Merganser was worse.
Oh,
I was like, it's actually not that bad. I was worried because I didn't really cook it well done, and that I learned that because they eat fish and all that kinds of other stuff, they can be full of worms and whatnot. And so I was like, oh,
mm.
oh. But anyway, nobody got sick, thankfully. But
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my buddies fed me some coot
oh yeah,
on that same hunt we just went on. I'm not like I'll eat. I'll if you would have cooked me cormorant, I would have tried it, right?
yeah.
But I'll try anything once.
Mm,
And they made to be very careful because they were doing teal poppers, and then
okay,
they snuck in some coot poppers. Well, okay, man, if you wrap it in bacon and cream cheese and jalapeno,
that'd be great.
might be a little harder to tell.
Yeah,
But now
yeah,
if you want to put it in a skillet and sear it, like I did this with a ringneck. I was like
yeah,
2 years ago. I was like, let's see, ringnecks really deserve this bad rap that they get.
yeah,
And so skin on, did a taste test. I'm videoing the whole thing. Yeah, it's not that bad. And then I was like, let's try the green wing teal that I also did the same way. And I pulled that into the scene and was like, no, ringneck's not very good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Comparative,
side by
right?
side. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 That's funny.
Um, yeah. So, okay, you've got something else that you're working on. You've got two cookbooks out.
Yep,
I've got them both here in the
yep.
studio. And there's a third one in the works.
Third one in the works, and it's going to be all fish and seafood. So
Mm,
a lot more fishing trips in my future.
yeah. Awesome. I
Yeah.
uh I was in Houston last weekend for the NRA show.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, people were going to eat at chain restaurants. I'm like, no, I'm in a different place. I just want to. It might not even be that great, but I'm gonna just find like a seedy Mexican food place that
Mhm.
specializes in seafood. And I
Yeah.
got grilled octopus.
Oh, nice.
It was so good. Yeah.
I love
So
octopus.
yeah, are you gonna have any octopus in there?
Um, I
Come
think it's
on,
part of the recipe
octopus.
list.
Yes,
Yeah,
come
I
on.
love octopus. There's a recipe in my last book too, but no, I love it's one of my favorites
Mhm.
for sure.
I've cooked it at home twice, and I screwed up really bad one time,
Yeah.
and then the other time it was phenomenal.
Was it
And
just tough?
the time that it was like
First time,
my
yeah.
kids were like, no, that's not very good. And
It's
that's always
crunchy,
the barometer.
Dad.
My kids will eat
Yeah.
anything, and they're
Yeah.
like, this is not like the one you made the last time. So actually,
Yeah.
I went in reverse. Like the first time I nailed it, and then the second time, I don't
How
write down
funny.
what I'm doing. I probably didn't even look at the
Yeah.
same recipe. I was like, oh, I got this. No,
Yeah.
screwed it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
hmm So
That
it's
happens.
not edible if it's tough. Octopus. Yeah. Okay, so when will that book be out?
That I'm still working on, and then the publisher usually takes a couple of years to put it all together and market it and do
hmm
all that stuff. So yeah, we're about 2 years out.
Okay,
So
right on.
yeah.
And then things are good at Antler Bar and Kitchen.
Yeah, man, we just did a renovation in January. We shut down for a month. Just a lot of much needed kind of updates and sprucing up the place and with some new equipment and some wine fridges and a few design things. It's a small space. There's really only so much we can do, but we kept the bones and just did some new lighting and tables and chairs and sort of for our 10-year anniversary. So, but yeah, it's going great. Our economy's very up and down, a little bit in the dumps. So, um, not as busy all the time. It's very strange right now. Like it's hard to forecast. Well, last week we had an incredibly wildly busy week, and then this
Mm.
week, a little quieter. And it's not as steady or easy to forecast anymore. It's very up and down, but we're just thankful to be here after 10 years and
That's an
not going
accomplishment
in.
for a
Yeah,
restaurant. I bet I don't know
yeah.
what percentage wise is, but I'm sure the majority of them do not make it 10
No,
years.
yeah, I think it's over 50% anyway, restaurants that don't make it, and then I think it's like 50% don't make it after the first year, and then 50% of those don't make it, past the third year. So yeah, it can be a tough gig. So
Well, does your staff kind of like look at you as like, oh, there's the guy that's like here when he's not off hunting?
yeah. A little bit, but I'm there during the week. I'm just not there at nights anymore. I want to spend time with my family. I enjoy going to the rink with my son, and I have a young daughter at home still too. And it's important to be family first, right? And it was very backwards for me for a lot of years, and I just and if I'm there because it's such a small space, you know, someone needs to get fired basically. Like, there's just there's not enough room, and I don't need a head chef if I'm going to be there every day. So
Yeah.
and I like working with younger chefs and developing staff and training people. And you can also you can learn a lot. It's a cool career where it's lifelong learning. You'll be I've hired kids that their uncle had a butcher shop or something, and I've learned butchery stuff from these young kids that aren't chefs, but they know how to butcher stuff, or something
Hmm.
cool with sausages or whatever. And yeah, there's just never ending learning in this career. So
Yeah.
yeah.
As we're wrapping up here, one thing that I tried to, so I took 7 guys with me to Argentina, and I was like, we went to a nice steakhouse. Number one, for 7 of us to order like whatever we wanted, tomahawks, bone-in ribeye, 24-ounce steak, dude. And I think we had 4 bottles of wine and all the appetizers,
Yeah.
$400, $400. It
Wow.
was like $50 a person. It was absurd.
Wow.
Um, but I ordered 2 appetizers, 2 sweetbread appetizers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, it was cool for like 3 of us. The other ones were like,
Yeah.
this
Like,
is
no.
disgusting. Or one guy was like, I'm not even going to try that. Like,
That's funny.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
like those are cooked right. They're delicious.
hmm I like
But it's
them.
the organ. It's organ meat.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is you can only pull those off a veal cow when they're
Huh.
young.
Really?
When they're older, it's like a gland in their neck or something,
The
and it
thyroid, I think.
shrinks. Yeah, as they get older, it gets smaller, and so that you
Huh.
can't even really eat them when they're older. But yeah, when those come off a young cow, yeah, poach them and press them, and then slice them and fry them. They're great.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we
Sort
had
of
them
what we do.
fried. I liked them a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, right on, man. I appreciate it. It's always great to
yeah.
catch up.
Always good, man.
Thanks for making time for us for you head to turkey
Anytime.
camp, and
Yes,
hopefully you and
sir.
your son find success.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. I'll send you some pictures.
Sounds good, buddy. Take it
All right,
easy.
man. Take care.